think it had enormous significance. I mean, Irish teams had waited 18 years to score an away win in European competition, and I think there was a psychological barrier there, that there was just a feeling that teams from this country couldn't go away and perform, you know, even against weak opposition. And, you know, it's been a downward spiral because we haven't been doing well. We've been going down the rankings. Because we've been going down the rankings, we've been playing against weaker opponents. And so we've been playing some, you know, over those 18 years, we've played some pretty awful teams and still managed not to beat them away from home. In some cases, we've progressed on aggregate. We've beaten them well back in Ireland, whatever. But the fact was that even against some poor sides, we hadn't won away from home. So Shelbourne's victory in Macedonia was a huge boost, I think.
The return leg brought crowds back to Talca, but memories of St. Pat's 10-0 aggregate defeat were never far away.
It's very important to the league not to get a hype, because it damages your reputation. It makes people, when they read it, just laugh at you. And unfortunately last year, and I mean unfortunately for Pats and for the league, and no one took any joy out of that, they got a good side and probably played poorly, whatever, and then they're gone, they drown. And that effect on the league was devastating for all of us. Just like the win again in Macedonia was brilliant for the league.
When you see a team go away, it sets a standard for everyone else. And it was a fantastic result for Shels, and they deserved it, and they've employed themselves brilliant with the week's training in France. So it does give your players that self-belief that it's possible, because they've proven it's possible. So then when you prepare, you're a lot more positive preparing for your games. Where teams would have went away and been happy with a draw, and you know, you are gone away and you're happy with a draw. But when you see the achievement of Shelbourne in a very difficult situation, it gives you a great heart. And when we went to Aberdeen, we went to goal down, it would have been quite easy to sit back and say, well, no one's going to shame us 1-0 in Aberdeen. But we didn't. We upped the ante and we got the equaliser, and then we upped it again and got the winner. So, you know, it did have a bearing on your preparation and application to the games in Europe.
For Bohemians to beat Aberdeen, and there was this kind of bogey thing about beating a British team. We'd only ever, you know, a team from this country had only ever once beaten a British team before, and that was a Welsh side, and Cork City made pretty heavy going to that. You know, to beat Scottish Premier Division opposition was recognised widely as being an achievement, and I think, yeah, there was really a sense then that night that yeah, it isn't just a one-off, it isn't just a fluke, that maybe there's something beginning to happen here.
But not for Cork City, who lost out to Lausanne. While Shelbourne stuttered after 2 minutes against Rosenborg.
The first two goals were a disaster. You don't go against a top-class side and give them 2 goals in 20 minutes and expect to survive. It takes too much. We've done as best we can, but that was the disappointing part. We were poor at what we're normally good at.
I think a lot of people there would have thought, though, in those first 20 minutes when they found themselves 2-0 down, that this is going to be this could be a real problem here. But very quickly Shelbourne showed signs of fighting their way back into it. Very quickly they got onto terms in the game. They could easily have come out of that game with a 2-2 draw instead of losing a 3-1. They tired a bit the last few minutes and conceded a goal. But you know, it was a very creditable performance overall, and it's not just, you know, talking about them being plucky. It was more to it than that.
No, I felt Shelbourne's second half performance against Rosenborg was absolutely brilliant. Their first half performance was a little bit negative, and you know, I would have been exactly in the same mindset as Dermot. But when they did go at them and have belief in themselves, they could have got a lot more out of the game. So I felt, you know, let's get rid of this inferiority complex and go at teams, and we did do that.
That Wednesday night was the best feeling I've ever had playing in Ireland. And I played in Oriel Park when it was packed against Celtic, but that feeling last, because there were so many neutrals who were cheering for the League of Ireland, and that's a night now that's etched in my memory. I don't think I'll ever forget it.
Shels followed up with the surprise 1-1 draw in Norway. Back at Talca, the party mood continued for Bohs' second leg against Aberdeen.
It was great to look into the crowd, see Shamrock Rovers, Shelbourne, Bray, even there was a Kilkenny banner there, you know, it was absolutely brilliant. And it was great to bring the whole Aircom League together, and even listening on the commentary, Don Reardon was saying, we done this and we done that, and even Don felt, you know, the pride of the league rather than, you know, his Galway and my Bohemians, and that was fantastic. Great lift for everybody.
Roddy, finally going into the first round proper tomorrow, who would you like to see drawn against?
I don't care. For the players, I'd like to see, you know, a club like Celtic because they deserve when we were drawn against Kaiserslautern. I was a little bit disappointed because I would have liked for the players to get Celtic or Chelsea, you know, because it would have been nice for the supporters of Dublin. Then when I sat down and assessed the Kaiserslautern situation and looked at them, they weren't a team. They didn't play as a team, they played as individuals. And I really felt, you know, we could get something out of it. When the fixture was changed to Dublin rather than away first, I was bitterly disappointed. But, you know, I understood the wishes of the club and the financial situation that the club was in. So I had to go along with it, obviously. But I was very disappointed because I felt we could go out there and get something and come back and have another great night in Dublin and have a great chance of going through. Well, it was a windfall for the club, you know. But, I mean, why not be in the next round? That would have been a major windfall.
Bohemians had the option of playing away from home first, which would be seen as an advantage in UEFA competitions. They sold that right to German television because they were clearly, I mean, the only explanation for that is that they were afraid they were going to take a hiding out in Germany and that the television rights for the second leg would be worthless. So clearly that pessimism still lingers. We're not at a situation where clubs are going into these competitions going, yeah, let's go for it, let's take on a German side, let's put them out of the competition. But Bohemians very openly said to everybody is, we're going to lose this game, but let's make a killing on it while we can.
When we went to Germany, we knew it was a totally different ball game, and we had nothing to lose. We were focused, we were concentrated. They learned from their mistakes. We went out and it was an absolutely brilliant performance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's too much point in getting completely carried away about the results away from home. In Rosenborg, certainly, the Norwegians would have felt that the game was won and that there was, you know, I would have thought very little point in killing themselves. Bohemians in Kaiserslautern probably had more to play for. They were under a lot of pressure domestically. They needed to kind of kick-start their league. I'm sure they would have liked to won the game by a few goals. Still, they were losing some of their best players. Again, you know, it's dangerous to read too much into those things when, in fact, the ties are won, because in European competition, by and large, that's all that matters to these clubs. It's brushing the likes of Irish teams aside.
For Shels, Rosenborg showed just how far or how close our European prospects are.
After I saw the first game, it's certainly a lot of players playing for Shelbourne that we could play for Rosenborg. So they have good players, and they just have to see the possibilities for Shelbourne. And I think if they are working hard, it's a question of time when they are going to reach a higher level also in Europe.
10 years ago, if we got Rosenborg, we would have been favourites to win. Now we're not. And in that time, they not only would be favourites to beat us, they're now expected to play in the Champions League every year. For the first time in my career here, I think this is something we could, in time, replicate. It's a similar league to our own. Rosenborg are light years ahead in their own league and have now mastered the art of playing in Europe. Now, the word here is that it took them 8 years. From the time they started to the time they got in was 8 years.
In the short term, this year's European adventure proves the value of thorough preparation and better cooperation between Irish clubs.
We've come here 4 days before the match to practice. We get the training sessions Sunday, 2 training sessions Monday, 2 training sessions Tuesday. That's 7 training sessions. I can't get that at home. Keeps all the players together. We've actually been together now for the guts of 2 months. We've crammed a huge amount of work into that. Technical work that I hope will pay dividends even over the short term. If we keep doing things right, you have to get the benefit.
I would love to sit in Dave and talk about whatever and to enjoy, you know, the spectacle that we served up on the day and Shelbourne and their games. I would love to be part of that, and I'd love to be able to help any manager, any club, and I would definitely do that, no doubt about it.
Overall this season, the performance was very strong, and there is a basis to move forward on there, I think. What we've done this year is gained more coefficient points in UEFA terms than we had during the previous 5 seasons put together. But it's more what happens over the next 2, 3, 4 years. The coefficient is based on a 5-year average, and you know, if we can use this as year 1, if we can sit down in 4 more years' time and look back on what has been achieved to that stage, if we have built on it, then that will be the time to judge how much progress we're really making.